Hi guys, I've got a couple of things to show you today. This is one of my wallpaper palettes. So the hand printed wallpaper that I make lots of samples, and if you're interested in having some of my hand printed wallpaper, you can buy one of my sample books. They're available on my website, but these are all made by hand and I make them from my printed wallpaper. So I have to make this little folder, and then I cut these little pockets to put the samples into, and you can see the samples here. And each wallpaper wallet has 10 good sized samples in, and a whole little brochure all about me and my wallpaper and how you can buy it and all the different links you need for the website. And on the back of each wallpaper sample is a QR code. If you've ever used one of these, you'll know that you just point your phone camera at it and it will take you to the website page where you can see more about this paper in different colourways and see some photographs of it in room situations. So that is the wallpaper sample wallet, and I've been making them this week because I was running low on them, and I am going to show you some of the processes I use to make them because I think it's super interesting and I hope you do too. The other thing that I wanted to show you was a really good friend asked me about concertina books this week, that is accordion books, and she was asking how, when you fold an accordion book, how can you get the pages to lie completely flat and be in line with each other? Because if you've ever done an accordion fold just with your hands and your eyes coordinating, you'll find that it's actually quite difficult to line up those edges. So the fold parts, to get them to sit perfectly on top of each other. So I thought I'd do a little tutorial because it's the handiest little structure for making books or making birthday cards or giving us gifts. There's loads you can do with this. So to get those concertinas so nice and neat is a really simple little trick, and you're going to love it. I'll be showing you that first. Better put my apron on. I'm going to be gluing, so this is my apron I use for gluing. I've got different aprons for different jobs. I do love an apron, especially one with a pocket, and keep myself a snack or a treat in there. To make a concertina book, it's really useful to have a cutting mat, a bone folder. These come in various shapes and sizes. If you don't have one, I highly recommend them for anybody who's interested in craft or making. They come in useful for so many things: folding paper, smoothing paper, turning the corners out of garments when you're making them. A ruler. I love a metal ruler because the marks are very clear and I feel like they're safer to use. And a scalpel. Usual health and safety conditions apply. I think this is a half of an A2. I'm going to just fold a size, any size, but if you want a particular size of your finished page, then use your ruler to measure the exact size that you want for your first fold, and then you'll be able to follow on every fold after that. If you don't know what size you want to end up with, but you want to use the whole piece of paper, sorry, the camera's blurring a little, then you can fold the paper in half and start your first fold from the halfway point. But for this, I'm just going to show you how to fold. And of course, it seems as though it's a really easy thing to do, but you can run into a few problems, and I'm going to try and help iron them out. So when you're folding a piece of paper, it's really useful to know that you've got one straight edge. I know that my edges are straight, and I'm going to use this side and my eye and make sure I fold this exactly in line with itself. Smooth it down. Use the bone folder to really firm that crease up. Then, here's the trick. Take your scalpel and where the first page meets your main piece of paper, take your scalpel and just make a little nick right where the page meets. I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. Can you see there's a tiny nick? And do the same with the opposite side. And what happens is the paper naturally leans towards the tiny marks that you've cut to make the next fold. So I'm going to turn the paper over. I want to make my next fold. I'm just going to gently push that paper down and find where the paper's nicked and start making my fold from there, and do the same on the other side, remembering to use your eye to line up the paper to line up the fold with the paper underneath. And now I've done those two edges, I'm going to use my bone folder and flatten that, and it hasn't actually disaster. I just made a little tiny mistake, but every tiny little mistake when you get to the end of the book will turn into a huge uneven book. So get these first folds right. There, that's nicely lined up now. Even the pros make mistakes. And then use your scalpel again, little tiny mark. Oh, it's not a mark, it's actually a nick into the paper. Fold it over, find the tiny mark and press it. Do the same at the other end, and then firm up that crease. Now, as you can see, that those edges match up perfectly. So if you had a huge piece of paper and you wanted all your folds to be completely vertical and in line, this is the way to do it. It takes a little more time. It's worth spending the time on it to get this final beautifully folded sheet. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. You know, you can leave me any questions around this and I will happily answer them. Just in case I haven't been clear, I'd love to know if I wasn't. And strangely enough, I've almost completely judged the size of that paper to fit. There's just a small lip for me to take off. So in the same instant, I'll make a little nick, trim it, a little nick, open it out and trim off the excess so all the pages are the same. And to lose those little nicks that are running all through the pages, I'm just going to trim off the excess, which will remove the nicks. You can plan this into your design, knowing that you're going to lose this edge in the end. There we go. And almost perfect, because I'm leaning over the camera, concertina. Here's one I did when I wasn't having to lean around the camera to do it. It's my seagull prints from Cape Town that I haven't put into a book yet. I haven't finished the cover. And this concertina fold lines up beautifully and just gives it that extra care and attention that we love. Okay, now I'm going to start making my wallpaper wallets, and I'm not going to show you every detail of the process because it's years of practice and it would really form the basis of a longer in-depth lesson, which I could do one day, but just for the sake of it, it's just sometimes nice just to see how people do things. I can never undo the lid because it's glued shut. I've got this great tool, brilliant for undoing tight lids. I wouldn't be without it. I'm going to pour myself some glue in a mini paint roller tray, and I've got a spongy roller and a handle. The best thing for gluing, in my opinion. I make sure the roller's got a nice thin coat of glue, and then I've pre-cut 2 pieces of my own hand-printed wallpaper to the same size, and I'm going to glue them back to back. So I just join them together, take them off of the newspaper because that's quite sticky now with glue, and I'll just press them lightly closed. And I use this silicone paper, which stickers come on. I collect it from all different places wherever I see it. It's so useful because if you get glue on it, you can just rub the glue off. So it's really useful for putting between glued items that are drying. So I'm going to take a piece of silicone paper, put it on top, and really firmly flatten the 2 pieces of paper together so there's no air bubbles. That looks pretty good to me. And then, using the silicone paper, this might just be out of shot, let's move it here. I've got an old piece of worktop. I put the paper that's going to, I put the wallpaper pieces to dry with another 2 pieces of silicone paper on top. That way none of them stick together if a little bit of glue seeps out of the edges. And I've got another chunky piece, and that goes on top. And the weight will flatten them and dry them. I'll leave it overnight to dry. So I've just got to work my way through this pile.